Wait, pre-release already? Yes! Welcome to more frequent Minecraft drops. Hello, I'm AbbyX and the first Pigs and Twigs snapshot was just 9 weeks ago, and now we've seen every single feature inside of this update, and we've actually seen our first feature from the next one. It's custom superflat for Bedrock, but as Joaquin Garcia 6746 says, aren't drops supposed to be something they give us while they're working on the big deal so they can finally release it? And the answer is yes. We have confirmation that Minecraft are working on one of their long-term initiatives or big updates, and if you want to learn about all 3 of these updates that are going to be revealed at Minecraft Live, let's go into those today because this is Q&A Saturday. And let's get started with the spring drop. The reveal for this is going to be the least dramatic if you follow Minecraft because we know every single feature inside of it. These have been shared in the trailer as you saw, but also this global broadcast times, which will also be when you can catch the live stream on this channel. But we're not going to be surprised by much in this update besides 2 big things, the first being the release date and the second being the name. We suspect the release date will be Tuesday the 25th, but it always could come out earlier or later, and then the name is something Minecraft have shared with no one yet, so will it be the Pigs and Twigs? Most likely not, but what they decide to call the drop is going to be the biggest new piece of information, which might be disappointing if you do follow a lot of stuff, so you might be more surprised to learn that even though the marketing name is still to be determined, the official name, 1.20 1.70 or 1.20 1.5, actually reveals to us another update. That's because if we look specifically just at Bedrock for a second, you can see between 1.21, the last major update, the Tricky Trials, and now we've had 7 of those updates come out, which makes for almost one every single month, with just a couple of exceptions there, and so this means we are likely going to see, if not 2, then at least 1 of these Bedrock-only updates between the spring and summer drops, and we actually saw our first beta for that last week. This had the locator bar in, and don't worry, we're coming back to the interesting concerns people have about that and their secret bases, but it also had some secret text or UI files inside of the game code. These were found by SmokeyStack, and they're a hint that Bedrock could be getting superflats from Java. Why does that seem true? Well, if we look into it here, you can read the text file, and it says that the superflat world description will have the layers of blocks that make up your flat world, and it might allow you to customize those blocks, picking 3 blocks high, for example, or up to 20, having different material layers, and even being able to choose the material off your flat world. Right now, you have to go flat or not flat, but you might be able to build custom superflats. This would be huge. This is one of my favorite Minecraft console features. It is one of the coolest features in Minecraft, the ability to fully customize your survival, and it looks as though it might be coming to Bedrock, which would be huge news, not just for map makers who can use it to make cool things, not just for people who want to have a flat experience for building, but also a great experience for people who love to play goofy Minecraft survival. It will be a real thing in the game code you can enable from scratch, and the only thing I have left to say is please Mojang, make sure you don't disable achievements. We've had a really interesting debate on this channel and in the comments about what should and shouldn't earn achievements, because Mojang are making it so that you can earn achievements as add-ons, but as Jacob Molasta says, but keep inventory is a no-no. This is something I hope they do address, and the same is definitely true for Superflat, which would be exciting if they could make sure it doesn't disable achievements. I mean, it makes Minecraft so much harder. Regardless of whether they do it or not, I'm still going to play hardcore Superflat when the Pigs and Twigs update comes out, but it'd be so much more fun for it to be a legit survival world, with achievements turned on, I guess, which would be very nice. Speaking of very nice, let's talk about the third update now, because Minecraft obviously have the short-term initiative of the Pigs and Twigs. They have the update that's going to come out between that and their longer-term one, but then we have the brand new update after this. So just to recap, Minecraft used to make 1 update a year, then in this Future of Minecraft post, they clarified that they'd be making more frequent Minecraft content more often. This is also where they clarified that they'd be moving to calling it the drop system, which is why it's always content drops now and not updates, even though content drops come via updates. Confusing, I know, but they said that their developers will be focusing on longer-term initiatives to ensure that they can evolve Minecraft into the future. They actually clarified that the 2 big initiatives they were working on were a native version of Minecraft for PS5, and over the coming year, they would be also exploring ways to improve Minecraft's multiplayer experience and make it easier to find and connect with friends. I believe that this is the hint that tells us what the summer drop will be all about, because they do say right here in a brand new Minecraft.net article that you can test the new player locator bar, the first feature we've seen, to find your friends more easily if they want you to, and they clarify that all of the features from our first game drop of 2025 are in testing, and so why not start on our next game drop? This first feature from that next game drop tells tells us they want to focus on multiplayer. I mean, that plus the fact that also we have the game changed to Minecraft Play with Friends, that plus the fact that we just got this brand new Friends menu on Bedrock, which by the way, Dinnerbone said they were working on all the way back in 2014 for Java. It obviously hasn't made its result there, but we have the Friends on Bedrock. It's very lovely. Minecraft is trying to become a more multiplayer focused game, and that is what I believe the summer drop is going to be focusing on. Right now, we don't know for sure, but if this is a longer term initiative, this would also explain that the summer drop is not just going to be 1.21.100, but it might actually be 1.22. It also therefore might have some actual new achievements because there aren't that many multiplayer focused achievements, and so what if we had an entire update dedicated to content just for multiplayer? What would that update actually include? Well, that is a bit of a problem, and I also think people have lots of problems with the first feature that we've seen because as Buff Bacon says, wait, so now secret bases are useless? You would think so, but actually no. So right now the player locator bar is an experiment, but it's clarified at the very bottom of their announcement post that as a creator or server admin, you can choose to disable the player locator bar to tailor the game experience. In other words, it is going to be disableable or enableable on a server-wide basis and not on an individual basis. Personally, I think it'd be cool to take advantage of the features they're working on for multiplayer and use them for, say, finding your pets. Here's a fun idea from Captain Skyward Planet. What if you could put pets on maps? I think this is actually a really fun one. Being able to find your pets easier would also be really great in a single-player world and would allow more people to be willing to try it out, even though it removes your access to your XP bar, which, by the way, Frogmath2 has the most controversial comment of the week, which is hopefully this leads to Mojang actually removing XP. It's a system that feels entirely outdated, and you've got to agree with the fact that this is gonna get a lot of people upset, but he does speak the truth. I think XP is such a janky system in Minecraft, especially when you talk about anvils requiring too many levels, and the fact that mending basically replaces the XP system. I think ultimately there could be something better, but Minecraft is far too old to remove the concept entirely. Speaking of far too old, General Delogu says, I'm glad I got my leather pants and golden apple with efficiency before they fixed it. If you haven't heard, Minecraft's funniest bug, which has existed for years, and which I think has to be an inside joke because it kept changing every update, they are finally patching it out of the game, and so you can no longer find weird items of efficiency, and that means that if you have a survival world and you want a limited time item that will never exist again, you can get enchanted golden apples, but not enchanted in the fun way, enchanted with efficiency 1, and I implore you to consider doing that. Speaking of imploring you to consider, I want moo blooms, each flower variant, that way you know what kind of suspicious stew each one has. This is a great idea, and technically speaking it could come... Okay, so I'm going to quickly just inhale some hopium, some copium, and I'm going to remind you that Jeb actually went on Blue Sky, and when someone said in response to him, what about the mobs from the losers of the mob vote, he says the team remembers them. That's all I can say for now, and so maybe the moo bloom is coming, even though we just had an update focused around flowers and cow variants, and it didn't come in there. No, I have fully committed to the idea that if you want a mob from a mob vote, unless Mojang say anything direct, it's probably not coming, because the truth is, they see the mob vote ideas as ones they could go to, but I think it's even less preferential than coming up with a new idea, because at least if they come up with a new idea, it could theoretically win a mob vote, but we know that all the mob vote losers haven't lost them, which means they're not popular features, and so until Mojang says otherwise, they're all in my emotional bin, and they should be in yours too. Speaking of being in the bin, disliked for Blue Sky nonsense. Blue Sky doesn't have free speech, just a heads up. So the reason that we're referencing Blue Sky, and I would encourage you to go there if you want to follow Minecraft developers, is because that's where the developers are. The truth is, social media isn't about the values that underpin it, it's about the people who are on it. If all of your friends are on one platform and you won't follow them, it doesn't ultimately matter about the platform itself, and if you believe that any one social media platform has free speech, you're being lied to by the people who own it. The true, purest meaning of free speech should be that you're free to hear and free to say anything you want to, maybe with the caveat that it has to be inside of the law, but every single social media platform has an algorithm that decides to boost certain things and decides to hide others, and ultimately, while that exists, you're not deciding what content comes to you, the app itself is, and it's doing so not based on free speech principles, it's doing so based on what is going to make them the most money. And so I would just keep in mind that the value of free speech speech philosophically is one of the most important concepts, but you're not going to get that on any... We had the solution to the idea of, like, you could have your own personal website and people could choose to follow the websites they liked, but then we all gave that up from the early 2000s because we all wanted endless scroll doom feeds that can tell us exactly what we want to hear all of the time, and yeah, now we're pretending that that's what free speech is when we all get fed things by the algorithm that we can't all turn off. I'll be honest, I love my own subscription page on YouTube, but I use the homepage anyway. It's a real deep thought that will never lead you anywhere good, which is why I want to go into FHDBH. You know, this is not a real username, but they say that even though we might not be right about this being the end update, we are one guess closer to the big win. That's right, keep on believing. Speaking of believing, the reason this comment came up is because I made a video about the actual likelihood of an end update coming or not this week, and one of my big points against it was that loads of players have been to the Nether via achievements, but far fewer have been to the end. And interestingly, Math Clips says if you're worried about the end update being inefficient because players aren't getting the achievements, I implore you to take a look at the achievements from recent updates. Plant a sniffer seed, 0.29% of players unlocked it. Make a decorated pot, also similarly low, and unlock an ominous vault is 0.88. And I did actually fact check this. This is true. It is dire how many people in the year and a half we've had since Tales and Trails have planted a sniffer seed. That is 1 in 400 Minecraft players, and given only half actually use achievements, that's 1 in 200 people who have planted a sniffer seed. The sniffer seed is about 10 times rarer than going to the End Islands, so I would actually agree. The sniffer was actually a bit of a dud mob. They added it because there was a mob vote, but they didn't seem to have any real desire to. They just kind of snuck it into the update where it was good, whereas the ominous vault was a fundamentally good part of the Tricky Trials update, and so even though the update's been out for less than a year, almost 1% of players have been to an ominous vault, which is impressive when you think about all of the steps required and how few players have gone to the end. Honestly, I think the Tricky Trials was more successful than I would have given it credit for, whereas the clearly the decorated pot update was less successful than I would have guessed. And so yeah, just a reminder, the Tricky Trials seemed like it disappointed a lot of people, but loads of the silent Minecraft players are getting into it and really enjoying it. Speaking of really enjoying, although clearly not as many as the end, speaking of enjoying things, Waldo's Pond really enjoyed Boss Blitz. They say congrats on the success so far, love the stream and look forward to the return to Sky Glue as well as your next challenges. Your dedication to your craft, pardon the pun, and your honest and real assessments of the human condition are refreshing and wholesome even when they're not. So I read that comment out because it was nice and complimentary and makes me feel better about myself, as all compliments do, but also because it's an opportunity to mention two big things, Boss Blitz and Sky Glue. Boss Blitz was the sort of thing that I was expecting to be just for players like me, which aren't that many in the grander Minecraft sense, but loads of people love this idea of vanilla style content that is actually built to be, you know, correctly engaging and challenging, rather than just giving you freebies. It's meant to be real challenges, and I've been really enjoying playing around with it on hardcore, by the way, and indeed I'm probably streaming that right now. It is a real bunch of fun playing Boss Blitz, but the success of it has really encouraged us to work on this idea that people might like to see real, proper, vanilla style balanced content, which is why we're working not just on an update to Boss Blitz, but also on the next add-on at the same time. The goal is to release that in the summer, but then also be able to have an update come out for it much sooner. Again, I wasn't expecting, Boss Blitz to be such a success that we can actively update it and do stuff with it, but we can, very exciting. And with regards to Sky Glue, we hit 100 days, which is exciting, but also now we need to start thinking about our bigger goals, notably including lava. There is a ruin portal 39,000 blocks away we discovered on a live stream. That's the closest we can find one above Y200, or we can do some real janky honey block dispenser stuff to try and get ourselves some lava from using that. It's going to be a rough time either way, but I'm looking forward to coming back to Sky Glue, but it's likely going to have to take a break because hardcore super flat is possible after the Pigs and Twigs update, because they're changing the Wandering Trader, which means that even without a bonus chest, you can theoretically get emeralds by finding something to trade with him. You can get bottles of invisibility, or indeed you can get buckets of milk, and so you could theoretically kill Wandering Traders, sell their milk to other Wandering Traders, and eventually buy yourself a sapling. It sounds so silly and so impossible that I just know I have to attempt it, and so that's going to be happening the week after the update comes out, which we suspect to be the week after this next one. It's going to be a ridiculous time, and I'm going to hate myself by the end of it, but you better believe that's the fun thing about all these challenges. You hate it while it's happening, and it's beautiful when it's over. Speaking of beautiful when it's over, this video, I hope you've learned about each of the free updates coming out at Minecraft Live. The first of these you should know everything about by now, but it's going to be exciting anyway. The second of these is one they're going to touch on probably for its add-on or potentially custom super flat capability capabilities, and the third of these is where the big, juicy stuff is going to come from, and I'm excited to see. If you want to watch and react live with me, we're actually going to be co-streaming the event here on this YouTube channel, and feel free to come check it out with me. I can't wait to find out that big new theme for what might be 1.22, but yeah, with that said, I hope that you all do enjoy this video, because I'm going to see you in the next one. Goodbye.